Welcome to Fat Kids Food Porn. This is one of my favorite times of year, fall time. The weather's nice and cool, perfect for us fat kids. We got college football and Oktoberfest beer is in plentiful supply. My wife, being the genius that she is, she bought me an entire case, knowing I needed a 12-pack for the dish I'm about to make and a 12-pack for me to consume while I'm making said dish. So, today, I am making my beer chowder. Chowder, whichever way you want to say it. Essentially, I'm going to have some ham, potatoes, broccoli with our beer, render that down into a nice creamy, cheesy, you're going to absolutely love this dish. All right, to get this party started, I need to get this onion finely diced up, cube up my ham so that I can start sweating the onion, getting it translucent, layering in that ham in order to start building that base or that foundation for this wonderful chowder. While I'm doing those, then I'm gonna have to go find my whip so I can crack it to make sure that the wife gets all the potatoes peeled in order for me to get those going as well. All right, so essentially what I just did is I got a sweet onion, I diced it up. I'm going to be getting that into the pot here in a minute, get it sweated down until it's translucent. Then I took my ham. I ended up buying a quarter of a ham and dicing it. I did it in different sizes, so I have some bigger chunks, I have some thinner chunks. Just kind of mix it up a little bit in there because I'm gonna make a very large pot. One of the things with this soup, as I said, in the fall time is where I can really get my Oktoberfest beer, and that's what sets this off. So I typically only make it one time a year, but I make such a big batch that you're able to freeze this, and it comes out of the freezer tasting just as good wherever you put it in. So you can enjoy this throughout the winter months and really have a great meal, especially whenever the snow starts flying. So first step, got the pot. Let's get the fire cooking on this. I don't want this at a high heat. I actually do it at a medium low because I do not want to burn anything. So I got a medium low heat. I need some olive oil to slap in the bottom of the pan. You can put whatever you flavor. I've told you guys before, I don't measure shit. So I kind of filled up the pan a little bit. Didn't completely cover it, but I got a nice little amount in there. Let that warm up. I'm gonna dump in the onions, which I have diced. Let those start sweating out. And then I'm going to add in my ham. Let that cook down a little bit more. Once that comes, just get a little bit of a glaze on the ham itself, rendering out a little bit of that fat. Then we're gonna start dumping in the beer. I've got a 12-pack of beer that I'm gonna slap in here, and then I'm going to fill the rest with water. About 3/4 of the way with my pan is my goal, is what I wanna fill up. One of the things whenever you're doing this, you wanna make sure that you are stirring your onions so that they do not burn. All right, we're getting those sweated down to where you can kind of see they're a little translucent in there. Next step, what I want to do is I'm going to get my ham added in there. Start letting that cook down and render as well. Essentially, I just want the ham to brown a little bit, not a whole lot, just a little bit. Just again, we're building those base flavors for our chowder at the end. As I get the ham in and I get it browning, I'm actually going to slap in some crushed garlic, just to add in another flavor level. All right, we got the ham cooking down, the onions cooking down. We'll slap in the garlic, just kind of heat it up. While I do that, and the garlic's kind of cooking, I do not want this garlic to burn. It becomes really bitter. So I just want to kind of get it heated up in there. But while I'm waiting on that to heat up, I'm actually going to start opening up all my bottles of beer, start dumping it in, and then we're ready to kick back, drink some beer, and relax. Or I go chase down the wifey because I think she got a Bloody Mary and didn't peel a 0 potato. So I might end up having to do that in the meantime. All right, so as you can see, just cooking it down little by little. Nothing high, nothing hot. Just warming it up, building those layers in. Now let's get to popping open these beer bottles and dumping in some beer. All right, so the beer got me about halfway there. What I need to do is now add some water. I use filtered water whenever I'm making any kind of soups or anything else like that. You can use tap water. I've done that before. But I've got my little handy dandy water filter that I'm gonna pull out the fridge, get this up to about 3/4 of the way full. I got it up This pot is now 3/4 of the way full. What I'm going to do now is add in another layer of flavor. I'm going to throw in some bay leaves just for that additional flavor. These I'll end up pulling out afterwards, but I'm just throwing in, let's call it 5 bay leaves. And I got to remember that to pull those out because you do not want to eat them bay leaves. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just cover the top with some fresh cracked pepper. And then I'm also going to slap in some sea salt. All right, I'm going to kick this up to about medium heat. Give it a quick stir. Start reducing down so that those flavors condense and come together and just create that absolutely wonderful base for the rest of our chowder. All right, clearly you can see that the wife took her Bloody Mary and ran and didn't peel a single potato. She's in there watching football. So I'm gonna go and join her, peel these potatoes down, let our soup base continue to reduce down and get ready for just, a fantastic meal on this wonderful Saturday. All right, so while I'm sitting here peeling these potatoes, stick them in a bowl of water so that they don't get brown. Make sure that you go in and you stir your soup every now and then. So I've got the potatoes peeled. I ended up peeling 14 potatoes for the batch that I made. You guys seen the size of my pot. So depending on how much you want to make, how much potatoes that you really want in there. So the beer chowder has been reducing down. I planned on about an hour, hour and a half. I actually went 2 hours to allow it just to continue to reduce down. That's where it's really can consolidate the flavors and everything comes into it. Next step is I've got my potatoes. I did skin these, so then that way you don't have that skin where you're chewing on them and everything else. I'm gonna do a rough chop on these. All right, so our soup's been cooking for a couple of hours. The potatoes are really starting to break down. Usually I'll do a rough mash, but just with me stirring them around, they're already breaking up, creating that additional layer of creaminess. Big thing that you want to be mindful of is make sure you stir that every so often and scraping along the bottom of your pan. You don't want your potatoes getting stuck in the bottom of said pan. Next up, we gotta get the broccoli ready. So I'm gonna use not only the florets, but also the broccoli rabe. So I'm gonna cut this down, get it chunked up. I like putting the broccoli in last. We got about an hour left. I don't want my broccoli mushy. I want it to actually still have a little bit of a crisp to it. Potatoes, absolutely, I want them mushy. As I get this done up, I'm actually gonna start tempering my cheese sauce. So I'm gonna do some milk, some heavy whipping cream, and obviously a whole thing of Velveeta. I'm gonna put that in on a pot, sit there and stir that, make sure that I get it all blended in without it curdling. Tempering, I'm gonna essentially bring it to heat, so it's a nice bubbly, oozy mess, so that whenever I pour it into my soup, it doesn't curdle and ruin all this hard work that we've been going on. So as you can see, I got my broccoli all busted up. I got it knocked down into little florets. And then whenever I was talking about that broccoli rabe, this is just the stems. I just peel those down. And now I'm just gonna put a hard chop on these, or a rough chop I should say, not a hard chop. Just that way you don't have those real stringy pieces. But this will go in, cook down. The florets I will actually throw in right towards the end because those are gonna really break down very easily. One of the things I'm going to add in as well is some bouillon base. So now that it's been cooking down, I kind of know what the flavor is going to be. I need to get some bouillon just for that additional savoriness. You can use chicken, whatever you have. I would not use beef, but I think I've seen some ham bouillon or some pork bouillon. That would work well in this as well too, but chicken does if that's what you've got in your kitchen. Once I get this all dropped in there, get it stirring up. As I said, I'm gonna bust this Velveeta up, add probably, we'll call it 2 cups of milk. I'm gonna do half of this container, get that going on the stove. I'm gonna sit there and watch that, constantly stirring it, because again, you do not want this to burn. That cheese will burn very easily at the bottom. Once you get it nice and bubbly, it's tempered, drop it into your soup, stir it up, we'll throw in the florets, and then voila, we'll be ready to eat. All right, so I got the Velveeta busted down, added that milk in there. Just want to give you a quick look at that. We get this thrown on the stove. Once I get that hot and bubbly, we'll be able to combine these two and we'll be ready to rock and roll. Oh, we are getting so close. So as your cheese starts coming together, you want to make sure you kind of stand over it. Just continuously stir this. It's just going to continue breaking down and coming together. You don't want to leave it, like I said, you can quickly get the burnt spots on the bottom, and it just changes that whole profile of the flavor, and you don't want to ruin your soup by burning your cheese. Just kind of stand over it, just keep stirring it around, get it all broken down. And again, like I said, make sure you're stirring this every now and then as well too, because those potatoes will stick to the bottom and they'll create a little crust and possibly burn as well. So that cheese sauce took about 30 minutes to get it up to temperature. Like I was saying, just tempering that so that I could add it into my soup. Those are all now combined. I want to give it another 30 minutes for those flavors to really marry and for my broccoli to continue cooking off and being at that perfect consistency. As I said, I don't want them hard, but I don't want them mushy either. All right, so our fall classic is finally done. There's what your finished product looks like. I am so looking forward to this. Got my French bread, got my beer chowder, cheese soup, whatever you want to call it. Remember, the whole point of my show is just to inspire you to get out and cook. Nothing better than to enjoy a meal, knowing that you made that for the ones that you love. If you're one of those that needs a little bit more direction and exact measurements, hit me up on my channel. I can come up with some measurements for you to help you through this.